Imagine the times when the great flood had not yet destroyed the earth, when the wrath of God had not yet engulfed humanity, and heaven had not yet revealed its secrets. In those distant days, there lived a man whom the Lord himself chose from among thousands. His name was Enoch. He was not just wise or skilled in the craft, he was a man of God. The Most High granted him the unheard of, to see the very heavens, and not one heaven but 10. 10 levels of heavenly reality, unattainable for mere mortals, where unearthly creatures shine, many-eyed, fiery, dazzling, brighter than the sun itself, where cherubim sing songs that defy human description. The throne of the Most High was revealed to Enoch, shrouded in infinite light, hidden in the depths of unattainable glory. He saw the perfect layers of creation, arranged in a harmony that is impossible to comprehend. And this is not a legend, for everything he experienced was recorded in the manuscript that we know today as the second book of Enoch. The Lord himself raised him to these heights, making him a witness of the heavenly. Enoch became a prophet of another dimension, a witness of God's miracles that no mortal has seen. His discovery is not just a vision, it is a revelation that can strike the soul. And it all begins from the moment when he turned 165 years old, and his son Methuselah was born to him. But the truly incredible was only ahead. Enoch lived another 200 years, and the total duration of his life was 365 years. On the first day of the new month, being at home, he lay on his bed, when suddenly in a dream he was seized by something deep and inexpressible anxiety that penetrated his very soul. His eyes filled with tears, even in a dream, although he did not understand what kind of pain it was and what was about to happen. And then two figures appeared, not human but something more. They were tall, majestic, with faces that shone like the sun itself. Their eyes blazed with fire, and flames issued from their mouths. Their garments shone with shades of purple. Their wings shone brighter than gold, and their hands were white as snow. They stood by his bed and addressed him by name. Enoch awoke and saw them clearly, without a doubt. He greeted them, but fear paralyzed him, and his face changed with terror. Then these beings said, "Fear not, Enoch. The eternal God has sent us to you. Today you will be taken up to heaven with us. But first, go to your sons and all who are in your house, and tell them what they are to do in your absence. No one is to seek you until God brings you back again." And without a moment's hesitation, Enoch obeyed. He arose, left his house, and headed for the exit, knowing that there might be no turning back. Then Enoch called his sons, Methuselah, Rahim, and Hadad, and told them all that he had heard from the mysterious heavenly messengers. "Listen carefully, my children," he said. "I do not know where I am going or what awaits me there. Therefore, I beg you, never turn away from God for vain things or false powers that did not create either heaven or earth. All these, and those who worship them, will disappear without a trace. May the Lord give you strength and help you to live with reverence for him." Then he added, "No one should seek me until the Lord himself returns me." Having said this, Enoch was taken up by the angels. Their wings lifted him into heaven and brought him to the first level of heaven, where he was placed on a cloud. Looking up, he saw even higher spheres, where the human eye is unable to penetrate. In the first heaven, a vast sea was opened to him, boundless, larger than all the oceans of the earth. There Enoch was brought before the elders and leaders who ruled the stars. And he saw 200 angels who were responsible for the movement of the luminaries, directing their paths in the midst of the heavens. They flew, spreading their wings, and circled around the paths of those who travel in the heavenly space. When Enoch looked down, vast warehouses of snow opened before his eyes, guarded by mighty angels strong, invincible. He saw where the clouds are born from and where they disappear after fulfilling their purpose. Then he was shown the hall where the dew is stored. It had the appearance of olive oil, but its form was shimmering with all the colors of earthly beauty. Each color shone with its own radiance. And here, too, stood guardian angels, who strictly controlled the opening and closing of these heavenly vaults. After that, Enoch was led further to the second level of heaven. There was darkness, deeper than anything he had ever seen on earth. In this abyss hung strange creatures, imprisoned spirits, awaiting eternal and inevitable judgment. These angels looked so terrible that the darkness itself seemed less terrible next to them. They wept incessantly, and it sounded like the wailing of the doomed. Enoch asked his guides, "Why are these spirits suffering so without rest?" He was answered, "They are those who have turned away from God. They have given in to their desires and rebelled with their leader, who is now chained in the fifth heaven. Enoch's heart was filled with sorrow when he heard these words, and even these fallen spirits turned to him. "Servant of God, pray for us." But he answered humbly, "I am only a mortal man. How can I pray for angels? I myself do not know what will happen to me. Who can pray for me?" After this, the guides took him even higher to the third heaven. There he was greeted by a landscape that cannot be described in words. It was a land full of wonders that no one had even guessed about. The trees there were full of fruits, sweet and fragrant, and seemed filled with joy. In the very center of that place grew the tree of life, the place where the Lord rests when he comes to paradise. This tree was incredibly beautiful. Its smell was intoxicating, and its petals shone like gold, purple, and fire at the same time. It bore every kind of fruit imaginable. Its roots were in the very heart of the garden, at the very end of the earth. Paradise, as Enoch saw, was in a special place, on the border between what is subject to decay and what is eternal. 2 springs flowed from this sacred area, one with honey and milk, the other with oil and wine. They divided into 4 rivers that calmly and gently flowed through the Garden of Eden, carrying life and blessings further, to the entire earth. They completed their cycle, returning, like all the forces of nature, in perfect order. There are no barren trees here. Everything flourishes. Everything is filled with goodness. Above this garden there is a constant song. 300 shining angels guard paradise and sing without ceasing. Their voices lift up praise to the Lord day and night. And Enoch exclaimed, "This place is truly beautiful." And the men who were with him answered, "This garden is prepared for those who have remained faithful despite all difficulties. For those who turn away from evil, do justice, feed the hungry, clothe the naked, support the weak and care for the orphans. They live righteously in the presence of God and worship him alone. For them is this eternal home." But after that, the angels led Enoch to the north side, and there he saw something completely different, a place that would make blood flow. Everything was shrouded in thick darkness, deep shadows, without a single glimmer of light. Only the ominous flame burst from the infernal river and rose, not fading. The atmosphere was filled with scorching heat and at the same time icy cold, thirst and trembling. Place of torment. Iron chains bound souls, and the guardian angels were merciless, without a drop of compassion. They held cruel weapons in their hands and brought endless pain. Enoch exclaimed in horror, "This place is terrible," and the same guides answered him, "This is the fate of those who rejected God, those who committed unnatural sins, corrupted children, sought dark paths, resorted to witchcraft, practiced black magic and glorified evil. This place is intended for those who live in lies, who steal, sow envy and hatred, who kill, curse, despise others, who use the poor for their own benefit, who indifferently pass by the hungry and leave the naked to freeze in the dark. This is the fate of those who never knew their Creator, who worshipped soulless idols, things that do not hear, see, or speak. They honored gods made by human hands, and here is their judgment. Here is their eternal reward." Then the men who accompanied Enoch took him higher, to the 4th level of heaven. And there he saw the incredible, the path of the sun and the moon, their movement, their glory. He watched as light passed through the celestial space. The sun shone much brighter than the moon. It moved along its trajectory with incredible speed, like a wind that knows no rest, neither day nor night. The sun was accompanied by 4 huge stars, and each of them was surrounded by 1,000 smaller ones. On both sides of the sun's path, 8,000 stars flew. 15 legions of angels served the sun daily, and at night 1,000 six-winged creatures went out with the angels, illuminating the path before it with a blazing light. 100 angels lit the sun daily and kept its fire burning. But that was not all. Enoch also saw amazing creatures flying near the sun. They were called phoenixes and chalcedras. They were incredible. Paws like lions, heads and tails like crocodiles, and bodies shimmering with the colors of the rainbow. Huge, 900 units in size, and each of them had 12 wings, like those of angels. These fiery creatures remained close to the sun, keeping its fiery radiance burning, carrying warmth and moisture, as God commanded. The sun rises under the heavens and moves along its appointed path even underground, never ceasing to radiate light. Enoch's guides led him to the east and placed him before the gate from which the sun's daily journey begins. There he saw how the luminary adheres to the exact celestial schedule, according to the passage of the seasons and the months that make up the year. 6 large gates opened before him, each of which had the same width, 61 quarter stadia. Enoch carefully measured them and understood. It was through these gates that the sun rises every morning and sets every evening. Every month it passes through a certain passage, gradually changing its route according to the change of seasons, and in a full cycle completes the whole year. Then he was led to the west, and there he saw 6 more gates, mirror images of the eastern ones. It was through them that the sun sets every day, leaving a trace of its radiance. It disappears underground, but its bright crown remains in heaven, next to the Lord, under the gaze of 400 angels. At this time, the sun moves on an underground wheel and rests for 7 great hours. Half the night it floats underground, and at the 8th hour it again approaches the east to bring light and brilliance to the new day. At this moment it flares up even brighter than the flame, and it is then that the phoenixes and chalcedras, those wonderful creatures of the sun, begin to sing. All the birds flutter their wings with joy, praising the one who brings light. At the command of the Lord, these creatures sing, "Behold, the one who brings light has come, to illuminate the whole earth." The deity of the morning appears, embodied in the rays of the sun and in the radiance itself. The sun rises again to illuminate the earth, and with it the world is filled with radiance. The men showed Enoch how the movement of the sun is measured, and how it passes through these special gates, the gates that count the hours of the year. That is why the sun is considered a mighty creation with a complete cycle of 28 years before starting all over again. Then the guides revealed another great secret. They showed 12 huge gates stretching from west to east. It is through these that the moon passes at the appointed time. The moon enters the first western gate, located next to the gate of the sun, and stays there for exactly 31 days. In the second gate, also 31 days, in the third 30, in the fourth again 30, in the fifth 31, in the sixth again 31. Then she stays 30 days in the 7th gate 31, in the 8th 31, in the 9th 30, in the 10th 31, in the 11th and finally 28, in the 12th gate. The moon then exits the western gate just as it entered through the eastern gate, completing a year of 365 and a quarter days, a complete solar cycle. But the lunar year is only 354 days long, and so it is 12 days short, called lunar ages of the year. Together, these cycles form a grand period of 532 years. Each year, a quarter of a day is lost, not counted in the first 3 years, and then added in the 4th year to make up for the time. During these years, the extra time is not included in the basic calculation so as not to upset the balance of the year. This creates 2 elongated months and 2 slightly shortened ones. And when the sun completes its journey through the western gate, it turns east again and begins its journey toward light. Thus the celestial cycle continues, day and night, uninterrupted, under all the layers of the heavens, faster than any human concept of time. Every wind, spirit, natural force, or flying angel moves in a certain order. Each angel has 6 wings and follows a path that repeats itself every 19 years, within 7 great cycles. In the very center of heaven, Enoch saw the heavenly host, beings who were constantly praising the Lord. They beat drums, played stringed instruments, and their voices merged into sweet, varied harmonies so beautiful that no language could describe their grandeur. These melodies amazed the mind and filled the heart with deep joy. As he listened to them, his soul sang along with them. Then the guides took him even higher, to the 5th level of heaven. And there Enoch saw a multitude of mighty beings called Grigori. They had the appearance of men, but were much larger, taller even than the greatest giants. Their faces seemed tired, haggard, and full of pain. They did not speak a word, and there was no worship there. Enoch turned to the men who accompanied him with the question, "Why are they so sad? Why are they silent? Why is there no praise here?" And they answered, "This is Gregory." They, together with their leader Saturnal, turned away from the Lord of Light. For this they were banished here, and others, like them, are kept even lower in the deep darkness of the second heaven. 3 of them, once some of them descended from the throne of God to a place called Urban. It was there that they broke their sacred vows. On the slopes of Hyalman they saw how beautiful the daughters of men were, and they took them as wives. By these actions they defiled the earth. They began to live in evil, sowing chaos and destruction. Their descendants became giants, huge, cruel creatures who carried only violence. Because of this, God pronounced a severe sentence upon them. Now they mourn for their fallen brothers and know that they will be punished on the day of the Lord. And I turned to one of the Gregories. "I have seen your brothers and the consequences of their actions. I prayed for them, but God decreed that they will remain underground until the end of this world. I asked them, "Why do you sit here in silence? Why do you not serve the Lord? Why have you not returned to honor him?" Before his wrath flared up in full force, they listened to my words in silence, and then sent a message through the 4 heavenly spheres. And suddenly, as I stood next to the 2 men, a mighty sound shook the sky, for trumpets sounded simultaneously. And then the Grigori raised their voices. They sang together, one loud, mournful, drawn-out sound. Their song soared straight to the Lord, like a prayer of repentance, like the groaning of the forgotten. And then the men who accompanied me led me on to the 6th level of heaven. I saw 7 groups of shining angels, all of them majestic, bright, and dazzlingly beautiful. Their faces shone brighter than the sun itself. They were the same in appearance, behavior, and attire, as if created in absolute harmony. These angels were responsible for maintaining cosmic order. They monitored the movement of the stars, the changes of the moon, the path of the sun, and the balance of the entire world. When they saw evil deeds, they gave commands, instructed, sang powerful, beautiful songs of praise. They served the Lord without ceasing. These were archangels, higher than other angels, overseers of all that lives, both in heaven and on earth. There were also angels assigned to observe the seasons and years. Others were responsible for the rivers and seas, for the fruits of the earth, for every blade of grass that grows. They provided food for all creatures. Some were engaged in recording human souls, recording every deed and every life before God's face. Among them were 6 phoenixes, 6 cherubim, and 6 winged creatures who sang in unison incessantly. Their voices were so incredible that no human language could describe their beauty. They triumphed before the very throne of the Lord. And then the 2 men who led me lifted me up even higher, to the 7th heaven. And there I saw a blinding radiance, an incredible, all-encompassing light, and vast heavenly armies of fiery archangels. Around were invisible forces, rulers, chiefs, cherubim, seraphim, and thrones, beings filled with eyes and light, each vibrating with power and glory. The whole heaven was divided into 9 levels of heavenly light, 9 ranks, 9 depths of the heavenly hierarchy. I was filled with awe, my body trembled with sacred fear. But the men who led me said, "Be strong, Enoch. Do not be afraid." And then they showed me the Lord sitting far away on a majestic, elevated throne. I asked them, "What is further away? What is in the 10th heaven?" And they answered, "God himself dwells there." And in Hebrew, this 10th heaven is called Erevad. All the heavenly beings gather there, standing on 10 steps, each according to his rank. They bow down before the Lord, and then joyfully return to their places to sing his praises in a low voice. In the infinite light surrounding the throne stand the cherubim and seraphim, beings with 6 wings and many eyes. They never leave God's presence. They stand before him, doing his will, surrounding the throne of glory, and whisper with their mouths, "Holy, holy, holy, Lord Almighty. Heaven and earth are full of your glory." And when I saw all this, my guide said to me, "Enoch, this is all that we have been commanded to take you to." And then they left me. I was left alone on the very edge of the 7th heaven. Fear seized me. I fell to the ground and cried out, "What has happened to me?" At that moment, the Lord sent to me a glorious, majestic creature, the Archangel Gabriel. He approached and said, "Be strong, Enoch. Do not be afraid. Come with me, and you will stand before the face of the Lord forever." But in the depths of my soul I said, "Lord," my spirit almost left my body for fear. I trusted the men who brought me here. I thought that they would be my guides to you. Then Gabriel lifted me up like a leaf carried by the wind and carried me right into the presence of the Most High. And I saw the 8th heaven, which in Hebrew is called Musalot. This heaven governs the change of seasons, dry and wet, and contains 12 constellations located above the 7th heaven. Then my vision rose even higher to the 9th heaven, known as Kukovim. Here are the dwellings of the 12 signs of the zodiac, solid celestial structures. And finally, I reached the highest point, the 10th heaven, which is called Erevad. I looked up and saw the face of the Lord. It was like red-hot iron pulled out of the fire, shining, burning, covered with sparks. Thus appeared his face. But the essence of God's presence is impossible to describe. It was something incredible, powerful, and beyond all comprehension. Who am I to try to describe the indescribable presence of the Lord? How can one speak of his glorious face, when even one glance from him changes the very essence of being? I cannot count all his commands. I cannot comprehend the multitude of voices that flow from his lips. His throne is majestic, not made by human hands, and around him are countless heavenly beings, legions of cherubim and seraphim, singing without ceasing. His beauty does not change, and his glory surpasses all imagination. Overwhelmed by all this, I fell to the ground and bowed before him. And then the Lord himself spoke to me with his own mouth. Be strong, Enoch. Do not be afraid. Arise and stand before me forever. At that very moment, the archangel Michael appeared. He came, lifted me up, and placed me right before the face of the Most High. The Lord then turned to his heavenly servants and said, testing them, let Enoch remain in my presence forever. And these glorious beings bowed down to the Lord and answered, let it be so, according to your word. Then the Lord said to Michael, take off Enoch's earthly garment, anoint him with my fragrant oil, and clothe him with the garments of my glory. And Michael did as the Most High commanded. He anointed me, and the radiance of this oil surpassed all known light. It was soft as dew, and had a sweet, soothing aroma. It shone like the sun itself. I looked at myself, and saw that I had become like the glorious heavenly beings. Then the Lord called one of his archangels, named Prevuel. He was the wisest of all. He was swifter than the wind in understanding and wrote down all the works of God. The Lord said to him, bring forth the books from my storehouses, and give Enoch the pen that writes quickly. Give him the best, most delightful scrolls from your hand. And Prevuel began to teach me everything, about the heavens, the earth, and the sea, about all the elements and their movements. He explained to me the nature of thunder, its laws. He revealed the paths of the sun and the moon, their cycles, the change of the stars, times and seasons, years, days, and hours. He showed me where the winds come from, how many angels there are, and how their heavenly song is formed. He also taught me about human life, about languages and songs, about laws and teachings, and about all the sweet praises that need to be known. Everything that I am now telling you was revealed to me by Prevuel. And he said, sit down and write down every soul that will ever be born, and the place prepared for each of them for all eternity. Each soul was already foreseen. Even before the creation of the world, each soul was united with another. For 30 days and 30 nights each pair was in union. And so I wrote everything down, carefully in detail to the last word. In total, 366 books. And then the Lord called me again and said, Enoch, sit on my left side, next to Gabriel. I bowed down to him, and then the Lord spoke again. Beloved Enoch, all that you see, all that was created and completed, I reveal it to you now. Before anything existed, before time began, I created everything out of nothing. I brought the invisible to the visible, the spiritual to the physical. Listen carefully, Enoch, and accept my words. I did not share this even with my angels. I never revealed to them how they were created, nor did I show them the boundless expanses of my kingdom. They did not understand how I brought everything from nothing into existence. But to you I reveal it. Before anything could be seen, I alone moved through the invisible kingdom, from one end to the other, like the sun that passes through the sky from east to west, and returns back. But even the sun has a place to rest on its journey. I had no rest, for I was creating, for I was laying the foundation for everything that will one day become visible. And so ended Enoch's extraordinary journey through the 10 heavens. He passed through the shining kingdom of glory, passed the prisons of fallen angels, stood among the storehouses of the stars, and finally reached the throne of God himself. Things were revealed to him that are far beyond human comprehension. He witnessed the structure of all creation, the fate of those who rebelled, and the eternal reward promised to the faithful. And among all that he saw, there was one message that rang louder than all the songs of the angels. God is in control, in heaven and on earth. Enoch was chosen not only for his own sake but for ours, to record these visions for all future generations. His revelation is not just history, but a call, a warning filled with hope, a sign of God's eternal purpose. And now we face a choice. What will we do with this revelation? Will we pursue righteousness, preparing ourselves for the eternal kingdom? Or will we turn away and ignore the truth that is revealed to us? The book of Enoch gives us a glimpse of God's greatness, His justice, and His unshakable plan. May we walk in faith, seeking the Lord, so that one day we too may be allowed to stand before Him, clothed in glory as Enoch did. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for taking this incredible journey through Enoch's 10 heavens with us. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on new revelations about biblical mysteries. Until next time, may the Lord bless and protect you. Shalom and peace to you.